Tropical Storm Rammasun, or now Glenda, as it's been named by the PAGASA, the Philippine Weather Agency out here. JMA still calling this a tropical storm as well, so is JTWC, and it is expected to make landfall now on Tuesday, going into Wednesday morning. Hi everyone, meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you today. We are still watching this storm system as it does continue to track off here towards the west. As I mentioned, actually expected to make landfall now on Tuesday, vice Wednesday afternoon. The big reason is that if we take a look at the current track, it is moving right above me here, 31 kilometers per hour. It has picked up its pace, and now we're expecting it to come on shore a little bit earlier than what was originally expected, right around the B call area, and then eventually moving out there over towards the NCR. So a lot happening here today. In this update, I'm going to break down this forecast track. Also, where is the storm system now? It's still a relatively weak tropical storm. Actually, at this time, winds are 65, gusting up to 93 kilometers per hour. And you can see right here, that red line, that's indicating the storm intensity at this time. And then this is the past intensity. It's been continuously forecasted to intensify, but it's been struggling. JMA still expecting it to continue to intensify. Here's the latest JTWC track. They actually had to go back down to a tropical depression, and then they pulled it back up, and still a low-end tropical storm, 65, gusting up to 83 kilometers per hour, moving at 37 kilometers per hour. So it's moving very, very fast as well. There's a few reasons for this, why it is still weak. One is that it is continuing to battle some moderate vertical wind shear. We're looking at about 5 to 10 knots, actually about 10 to 15 knots, just along the northern extent of it. Also, if you zoom right in on this picture, it has a lot of drier inflow coming around the northern periphery. It doesn't have the moisture source that we saw in Naugori, actually, because that had an abundance of moisture come out of the ITCZ. There is still some here, but it's not feeding in on as much of it as we saw with that storm system. Yet the agencies still expect this to really continue to intensify. A few reasons for this. One is that it is expected to move out of that low vertical wind shear, or that moderate vertical wind shear, and the other is, take a look at this, some areas 30 to 32 degrees Celsius, that's upwards of about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, sea surface temperatures. Climatologically speaking, what we often see just prior to landfall in the Philippines is these storm systems rapidly intensify. Classic case example, Typhoon Meggy. Last year we had a few storms just the same, where they were expected to be a low-end typhoon or a severe tropical storm, and they rapidly intensified to something larger. We could see this right prior to landfall, and I think that is one reason why I'm still sticking with a low-end typhoon. Now, typhoon in the Philippines is still going to cause damage, so what we're going to talk about now is where this storm system is coming. If you are away from the center line, don't think it's okay. Don't think to yourself, you know what, not really too worried about this storm system, because in reality, despite its size being rather small, it's still going to be bringing some heavy rainfall out here. Here's the latest track from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. You can actually pull it up just prior to landfall here, expecting those winds about 65 knots, actually continuing to intensify up to a typhoon status at that time, would be about 120 kilometers per hour. But let's take a little bit of a closer look here at Luzon and where this storm system is exactly going to be going. That pink line right there in the middle, that's your center line we're talking about, coming on shore here along the mountains, the Mingan Mountains, pushing right over that. Big thing about that, and this is going to run into some mountains as it pushes just north of Bicol, and you could be seeing some rapid de-intensification once it hits those mountains. It's going to squeeze all that moisture out like a sponge. Flooding very well likely, though. See this little circle right here as well? That's the Joint Typhoon Warning Center's idea for tropical strength winds are going to extend. Even on the southern periphery of that, those tropical storm strength winds likely going to be impacting those of you in Manila. But I think one of the bigger things, though, is let's go back to our chart here, or our model outlook. Zoom right in over top of Manila. Let's pull up our precipitation, get rid of the cloud cover. The thing is, despite it being a little bit farther towards the north, and actually this model just takes it just north of Metro Manila. These areas in the dark pink, that's indicating some very heavy precipitation. Actually, some of these areas, I mean, we're talking about 45 to 60 millimeters per hour out here of rainfall. Definitely high threat of flooding. As we all know, Manila very prone to flooding, very poor drainage here. Unfortunately, that is the case. I don't like to say that, but very high risk, especially by Tuesday into Wednesday, of some major flooding. So this is definitely something we want to continue to watch out for. As far as any really big shake in the track, I don't expect it to happen. I know we've been asked, is it going to wander very much? This is Bagassa's actual official track on this, and you do see that cone of air, and it could waver a little bit farther towards the north or towards the south. But the big thing is that you can see where the high pressure ridge is right now. It's well north of the Philippines, and this acts as a wall. Think of these high pressure ridges and our tropical storm as really a valley, and the high is a mountain. And well, in the storm system, it's kind of like water. It doesn't want to flow uphill, and that high pressure ridge is a mountain. It's not going to flow uphill. It's going to continue in that low pressure area and continue to track off there towards the west. So if you're in Taiwan, I think this storm system not a big threat for you at this time. Although, if you're into southern portions of China, we could be seeing a change in the extended outlook as it rounds the northern extent of that high pressure ridge. It eventually could push off there towards Hainan or around Guangdong or even Hong Kong. You could be seeing the storm system come by as a strong typhoon, albeit as well, even though it does weaken over the Philippines. It very well could re-intensify out there in the South China Sea. So still a lot happening even after the storm system pushes overhead, but any significant recurvature scenario I don't think is going to be happening because of that high pressure ridge just there towards the north. JMA also expecting it to stay on there in that westerly track, maxing out about 75 up to 105 knots. So the equivalent of a Category 1 hurricane for those of you who follow the Saffir-Simpson scale. Here's a look at some of the models, though. They're also wavering at north or south. Really, I think the models are just having a hard time grabbing the exact center of circulation on this storm system. I mean, you could take back a look at the satellite imagery. I think it's right in there, but it's been firing up north and south since it is a relatively weak storm. It's still struggling to organize. So I think that's why you see this big split in the model outlooks. But when it all comes down to it, it's the rainfall. It's going to be a big problem out of this. This is your COAMPS 96-hour rainfall outlook. The Philippines, and specifically the Metro Manila area, really just getting some heavy rainfall. This is actually indicating, look at that, these areas in the greens, 500 to 600 total millimeters of rainfall before all is said and done. Flooding, really a big problem. I think that's what when this storm system's over with, we're going to say the winds weren't that bad, or where the winds did hit, I mean, as you can see right here, where the storm system is coming on shore, where the winds do hit, it's not going to be really a big damage maker, but these winds wrapping around the southern periphery are going to cause some coastal flooding even into the Metro Manila area, and the total rainfall coming out of this storm system. So with that said, we're going to continue to keep you updated here, everybody, at westernpacificweather.com. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let us know. We appreciate your feedback. I'm really trying to give you as much information as possible by trying to keep this video at least to 10 minutes or less. Right now, we're pushing on 9 minutes. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Please check the website as well. We're putting information there. Plus, Tuesday morning, I think we're going to do a live cast just like we did with Nauguri. But it's going to be Tuesday morning coming up here. So please do check in with us. Then we're going to be trying to answer all your questions. Maybe you might go for something Monday night, but probably Tuesday morning. We'll put something together here for you, and really throughout a couple of hours answer your last minute questions on exactly where the storm system's going to be. So please do check in with us. We have a bunch of people in the Philippines that are watching the storm system. It's not just me. I'm in Tokyo at this time, but we have a lot of people out there as well at the website and on the Facebook page. So a lot of stuff going on out here. Stay safe out there, everybody, and thanks for watching.